Hello, this is Christy Fulk with Create with Christy. I'm here with another Christmas card for you. This is another set that's in the holiday catalog that's going to be retiring soon. And I want to make sure I made as many projects as I can with it because I love this stamp set. I mean, I absolutely love it. It's just gorgeous, all the different berries and branches that you can make with it. And this is a card I made last month with it. My ladies came and made this for the Stamp-A-Stack card. And the stamp set is can be bundled with the Sprig Punch. The Sprig Punch is going to stay. After January 2nd, this one is still available to purchase, but the stamp set is not. We also used some Joyous Noel designer paper that sold out a long time ago. There have been so many popular products from the holiday catalog. It's been unbelievable. We usually don't have things sell out that quickly, but this sold out really quick. So I want to show you another project with this. This is also some glimmer paper that's still available, but this is also retiring. I'll go ahead and show you the Sprig Punch, and this is the stamp set, Peaceful Noel. You can see why I love it so much. There's so many wonderful stamps in that set, and it is a two-step, and it's photopolymer, so you'll be able to line up the stamps very easily. But you could purchase them separately or purchase them together and get 10% off, and the bundle will be retiring January 2nd also. Now the Sprig Punch is on back order right now, but you can still purchase the bundle and you'll get the stamp set, and the punch will come when it's available around the middle part of January is when they're expecting it. And this one is sold out a couple times. I mean, not sold out, but been on back order for a couple times already. I think this is the second time. So that shows how popular this is too. I love this punch. You can do so much with it. Okay. Come back to the Peaceful Noel. What we'll be using is a little pine branch, these two for the leaves, and this for the berries, and then I also use these little berries here. Okay, and I use the tufted dynamic textured impression embossing folder. I just love this one. It's so pretty. And this is Crumb Cake Classic Weave Ribbon that's in the annual catalog. And the colors we're using, this is the Merry Merlot. I'm using Mossy Meadow for the pine branches. The regular leaves are with Tranquil Tide. The berries are with Crumb Cake. And I think, yeah, that's Merry Merlot and the berries. I forgot if I told you that or not. So I get started, and I wanted to use two different greens in this so you can definitely see the difference between the two types. And I think those two colors go pretty good together. I wasn't sure if I'd like that, but I do like that a lot. And I use that on this other card too. Use the Tranquil Tide on the berries, the Old Olive on the branch. Now this one, I want it to be different. That's with Old Olive. So you can see how those three green colors really go good together. Okay, we'll get started. First we need a piece of Crumb Cake. This is 8.5 by 5.5. I'm going to fold this in half to form the card base. Get those corners lined up. Take my bone folder to get that good crease. That's ready to go. Put that over to the side. Now I'm going to bring my Big Shot in. I could have embossed this ahead of time, but this is one of the dynamic embossing folders. And I want to show you the sandwich for it. It's extra thick, and it gives a better impression. So I'm going to do is take my 5 1/4 by 1.5 inch piece of Merry Merlot cardstock. I'm going to put that in. You always want to go fold side first when you put it in, and because it's so thick, you just need the Big Shot platform, the folder with the cardstock in it, and one standard cutting pad. Normally when you emboss, you'll have a cutting pad underneath and on top. This one, since it's so thick, you just need the one that's on top. So go ahead and put that through. And you can also spray the cardstock a little bit, spritz it with a little bit of water to get an even deeper impression. But I was okay with this one to get this impression. I thought that looked pretty good. So we're going to go ahead and go with that. Get this out of the way. And again, that's the Tufted Impressions folder, and it is in the annual catalog if you're interested in that. So this one's still available for a while. Now I'm going to bring in my Whisper White. This is a 5 1/4 by 4 inch piece of Whisper White. This is what we're going to be doing all the stamping on. And I wanted this to be hanging underneath the cardstock, so I'd know where to stamp. What I did, I laid this right along the top where it's going to go, and just bring in a pencil and kind of make little lines. And I kind of even made it a little underneath. Just make little dashes to go along underneath it. And that's going to show me where the edge of the paper is going to be. You can go back and erase it, but since I put it underneath it a little bit, this is going to cover it up so it won't be seen anyway. But that's going to make it so I know where to stamp. I'm going to start off with, it really doesn't matter, but we'll go ahead and start off with the berries. And with a lot of times when you want a lighter color, you have to stamp off. Well, with this one, it's textured, so it does a lighter impression already. So we're not going to need to stamp off. I'm going to go ahead and bring in my Stampin' Pierce mat and my grid paper first, because this is going to I'm having grid paper underneath this because I'm going to be stamping images off of the paper, and I didn't want to get it stamped on my Stampin' Pierce mat. So I'm going to start with a darker image first. So ink this up. Do it lightly because you don't want to get ink in too many places. And I'm going to kind of angle it this way and make sure that the stem is kind of above the pencil mark. So there's one there. And I'll put one, probably about here. And another one about right here. Now I'm going to take, and the reason I go with the darker one, it makes it easier to line up later. Now we'll see how well I line up, because when I'm working with a video, sometimes it's hard to get, I can't get my head right in the way. So I'm going to see if we can get these lined up. I did this so I could put my head over. See, I did pretty good even at an angle. And you see how it's a little lighter, so you can still see the detail of the lines. There's one there, and this is all with the Mary Merlot color. And there's that one. Okay, now I'm going to use the leaf. I'm going to go ahead, while I've got the Mary Merlot out, I'm going to use my May Your Christmas Be Holly and Bright, Jolly and Bright. You can tell I've used this one a lot. I kind of tinted it. And I'm going to stamp this in the bottom right corner. There we go. And I love using the Stampin' Pierce mat, especially with the photopolymer stamps. They really need that cushioning underneath it to make it stamp really sharp. Okay, now I'm going to bring in the branch ones. And this one I'm using the Tranquil Tide color. This is an in color that's going to be retiring at the end of May. And once again, I'm going to do the lined images first. So I'm going to stamp this one about in the middle, probably, maybe bring it up a little bit. Stamp it there. Stamp this one more of an angle. And I'll stamp this one like that. Okay, now I'm going to bring in, this one's textured just like those berries were, so there's no need to stamp off. You can stamp off, of course, if you wanted to, but I kind of liked it being a little darker. Line that up. And see, even if you get off a little bit, it just looks like it's got lighting on it. And I like that. I'm glad it, there we go, that one lined up perfectly. So if I can do it at an angle, you can do it when you're not doing a video. There we go. So those are ready, and those are all done with Tranquil Tide. And now I'm going to fill in the areas with this pine branch, and it's going to be with the Mossy Meadow. And I'm so glad this color's back. I'm going to stamp off and stamp it again. You see how I get a little lighter version. This time I am stamping off. Just kind of fill them in the middle. And it's okay going over. It just brings it, fills it in. That one I probably just put one since it's a smaller spot. That looks pretty good. And then I wanted to add a few little berries just in these little areas. And instead of using more Mary Merlot, because I thought it'd be too much, especially with the greeting being that way, I'm going to use crumb cake. And I'm going to use the lines again. Let's see, there we go. That looks pretty good. I'm just going to kind of put a few along here. That looks pretty good. Maybe one more right there. Okay. Then I'll take this one and kind of line it up a little bit and fill them in. And then once again, this one's textured too. Isn't the stamp set really neat? I love it. All the berries. This is another one I'm going to miss a lot. And the last set of berries. There we go. And now I'm going to bring, that's all the stamping, bring in my tufted piece again, get my snail out. I'm going to go ahead and put adhesive all the way across those narrow ends, and then just a couple here on the top and bottom. Oops, there we go. Line it across the top. And if, perchance, you're doing this and you do still see the pencil mark, what you can do is bring in your ribbon. This is a 7-inch piece of that crumb cake classic weave, and you can kind of even bring it down just a little bit to make sure you cover up the pencil completely. It looks like I've got a little bit of pencil there. Oops, Probably because I put the paper on too high, but that's okay. We'll go ahead and make that work. So I'm going to put a little adhesive on the ribbon ends. So that's the one part about working at an angle for a video. You don't line things up real great. Okay, there we go. I'm going to put that. Now I'm going to bring my card base back in. Mount this on top. You can see how I got it up a little bit, but that's okay. We're going to make it work. I could try to remove it, but I'm afraid I might start tearing up some of my stamping, so we'll get it. There we go. That's not too bad. So that's on there in the center. Now I'm going to bring in a 9-inch piece of the same ribbon. I'm going to tie it into a bow. And like I've said before, always have a shorter end here on the left if you're right-handed. You'll want to go the other direction if you're left-handed. Put your finger in there, wrap it around your index finger, just like you tie your shoe. Sometimes easier said than done. I'm not getting a hold of it right. There we go. And I just want a little bow with this, so I'm going to kind of, you can see how this kind of twisted on me a little bit. I can go back. Everybody says, boy, your bows are so beautiful. I have to play with them a few times before they look good. And sometimes I have to do them more than once, but I think I'm going to be able to make this one work. But I do want it small, so I'll keep playing with it. That looks pretty good. Grab my glue dots, put this on one of them, push it down real hard so it comes up with the ribbon. You just stick it here on the left side of the attached ribbon. There we go. I could have threaded it underneath and tied it, but I can never get my bows to look right. I think this is a little easier. Bring my scissors in and cut the ribbon ends at an angle, shorten them up a little bit. I always do them at an angle, makes it look prettier. Well, that's it. That's the end of that card. Hope you like it, and if you like this stamp set and want to get it, you've only got till January 2nd. It's while supplies last, so you also don't want to miss out on that. If you want to order any of these products, you can go to my blog at www.createwithchristy.com. And I've also, and click shop now, and I've forgotten to say in my last couple of videos, I've got a doily rewards program that I've been doing. I started back in October. When you collect 10 doilies, you'll get a free $50 shopping spree on me, and I'll even pay the shipping and the tax. And you can go to my blog, and there is a link below in my description that takes you right to my doily rewards page that explains it all, to show you how you can earn that $50 in free product, and who doesn't want $50 in free product. So if you're interested in that, make sure you see that in the description. If you'd like to know when I post videos on my YouTube channel, just subscribe below also there. And I've got links to my Pinterest page, Instagram page, and my Facebook page if you want to follow me there. And all the supply list is below, and all of the dimensions of the card stock is below also. So I hope you enjoyed today's card. Have a good night.